Hey there. I am going to talk about a topic that has become pretty popular, I think, in recent days, especially over the last couple of years, really, with apps like Robinhood and other programs that allow average, everyday people to invest in the stock market. And part of their sales pitch is that you can invest like stockbrokers or the pros, which may be great in some cases, but also can be a challenge. So I want to talk a lot about margin today and what is margin, how it works. It can be very dangerous, I think, for the average investor. And so I want to talk about that. So just a quick disclaimer, I'm not a registered investment advisor. I'm not a financial planner, financial analyst. This is just an illustration or an example of margin. You should not rely on this for investing advice. So with that, what is margin? So basically, margin is borrowing. You can think of it as debt. I mean, that's as simple as it really gets. And I'm going to get into some of these terms to describe what they are, show you examples of how they work. And those include initial margin requirement. So that is the amount that you have to actually have in the account before you can buy stocks on margin or borrow against those stocks. A margin maintenance requirement. That's going to be after you've purchased the stocks or you've bought the stocks on margin. There's a minimum amount of equity, which you'll see further down the page, that you have to have in the account. So basically, a certain amount of your money, as opposed to the borrowed money, makes up your margin maintenance requirement. Again, I'll show you these examples. Margin account value is just the value of the total account. Minimum account value is the minimum that your account can go down to before there would be a margin call. So a lot of terms sounds very confusing, I think, which is also why it can be so dangerous for the average investor. So let's get into some examples. And I think this will make more sense. So, as an example, your initial margin requirement is going to be $2,000 or 50% of the assets that you wish to purchase. So, essentially, you cannot buy on margin or borrow money without having at least $2,000 in your margin account. So, you put $2,000 into this account, that's your equity, so it's your money. And the companies or most companies will allow you to borrow or buy a stock actually worth double that. So, I have $2,000 of equity. That means I can also then spend $2,000 more in margin. So in this case, I'm going to take $4,000 total to buy, we'll call it GameStop shares. And there's a reason for that. Me picking GameStop. So GameStop has actually been a very popular meme stock, is what they call it. So retail investors inflated the stock to a point where there was a short squeeze. So a lot of institutional investors, or let's call them pro investors, Wall Street, et cetera, they bought positions, or they basically took positions that were short of the stock, which all that really means is that they are betting GameStop was going to fall and go down. So they borrowed a bunch of GameStop stock, hoping that the price would fall. It was shorted so much that these retail investors realized they could drive up the price. And as the price was going up and skyrocketing, those people that bet on it going down actually started to sell those positions in order to limit their losses, and that drives the price even further up. So GameStop was a great example of a situation where a lot of people made money because these retail investors all pooled together, the average Joe investors, through Reddit basically, and bought this stock. However, it's also a super big risk because once you start borrowing on margin, you can kind of see what happens, especially with one stock that you'll see is very volatile when it comes to GameStop. So in this case, we're just going to pretend we bought 100 shares at $40 each, just for illustration purpose. So our maintenance margin requirement, that basically means the amount of the account that is your money. So typically it's going to be the minimum is 25%, and then a lot of brokerage firms will go somewhere between 25 and 40%. We'll use 30%. I was looking on Schwab's website, that's their margin requirement. So that means 30% of the total account value has to be your money. So when you start to think about, okay, well, what's my minimum account value? Like, what's the lowest my account can go down to? And it still meets that requirement. You just take your margin, so whatever you borrowed, and you divide it by 1 minus the maintenance margin requirement. So in this case, I borrowed $2,000. My maintenance margin requirement is 30%. So if I take 2,000 divided by essentially 70% or zero point 0.7, I get $2,857.14. So what that means is my $4,000 account has some room to go down before I run into trouble. And I can kind of show you what that looks like. So looking at our minimum account balance here, you can see, okay, so if the minimum account value was $2,857.14, 2,000 of that is borrowed money, which is 70% of the total. $857.14 is my equity. So let's just pretend for illustration's sake that the price of the stock falls from $40 to $24 a share. That's a 40% drop. And we'll talk later, that may seem extreme, but really it's not. So now you own 100 shares at $24 a share, which is a $2,400 margin account value. So that's a problem, right? So look at the bottom of the screen. Uh-oh, that's less than my minimum account value. So what does that mean? So because my margin account value has fallen below that minimum, I now only have $400 of my own money, which is 16.67% of equity in this account. So because it's below 30%, my broker will initiate a margin call. So that's the term margin call. And what that means is the value of my account has fallen to a point where I actually have to either add cash to the account or they're going to turn around and sell my position. So if you think about it, they're a lender and they've given you $2,000. The value of what you've invested in is now down to $2,400, and that's too tight for them. They're worried it's going to fall more. They don't want to lose their money. So they're going to get out. They're going to force you to put money in to build up a little bit more of a reserve for them, or they're going to sell your stock without your consent, by the way, so that they can cover their cost and make sure that they're not going to get hit with a loss. So in this case, you'd have to put $320 into your account, and you usually get a couple of days, maybe up to 5 days, depending on your track record, depending on the volatility. These are very volatile times right now, so that may be even a smaller window, even less than 2 days in some situations, or they're going to turn around and sell your stock. So let's suppose your broker sells the stock, right? So you paid $4,000 for this stock, and now you're getting $2,400 back. So obviously that's going to be a $1,600 loss, but the way that it works out is you get $2,400, you pay down your $2,000 loan, and you're left with $400. Not great when you started with 2,000. So let's compare this to a scenario where you actually did not use margin and you just bought the stock outright using your $2,000. So in that case, you would only be able to afford 50 shares. But the benefit of that is if the stock does fall 40%, you only lost $800. So as an example here, you can see margin actually doubles your loss. It can also double your gain. So, this is obviously the risky part of it, but there is the possibility that you can make more money. So I don't want to downplay that, but the risk involved really, to me, necessitates that you have experience with stocks, especially if you are an individual that is just, working a regular job and decides to try to day trade or do this on the side. I would not be using margin to start. So you might argue that a 40% drop in a stock is pretty extreme, and it is. Historically, that would be a big drop, but that's one stock. So today, the S&P 500 is down over 26% from its all-time high currently, and that's a huge bundle of stocks. The 500 stocks that are part of the S&P collectively are down 26%. So there's a little bit less volatility when you have a group of stocks like an index fund or an ETF, which we'll talk about. An individual stock is going to be much more volatile than a bundle of stocks. So, the fact that they're down 26%, very easily you could have a single stock that's down 40% or more. Meme stocks, especially such as GameStop, AMC, others that get propped up by this sort of retail investor wave are even more volatile. So, borrowing on margin is very, very risky, just something to think about. The other thing that I think gets lost in the conversation is you actually have to pay interest on the money you borrow. So like any bank, your stockbroker is going to say, hey, I'm giving you $2,000, but you owe me an interest rate. So these interest rates as of today, Schwab's base rate is almost 10%, Fidelity's is just under 8%, and Robinhood's base rate is 4.25%. And if I were a betting man, I would guess that's going to go up very quickly as the federal funds rate and other rates are on their way up currently. So interest accrues daily. It's added to your loan balance monthly. So basically the way that would work on a $2,000 loan at 4.25%, it's about $7 a month of interest in the first month. So keep a couple of things in mind. Obviously, if $2,000 becomes $20,000, that number goes up significantly. And then each month that interest compounds. So the next month you're going to pay interest on that $2,000 loan plus the $7 you've already gained in interest. So it keeps compounding and goes up. So my advice for margin is pretty simple. I would just say don't use it. So stockbrokers and others on Wall Street, they make their living by investing in stocks. They use margin in conjunction with other strategies, and it's really to balance out the risk in their portfolios. So individuals, in my opinion, should really be looking for low or no cost index funds, ETFs, exchange traded funds. That will give you exposure to a huge number of stocks in a grouping as opposed to investing solely in a specific stock. You run the risk of not being diversified, and if something happens where that stock goes down for whatever reason, it can be a natural disaster, it can be something to do with the company. There's all kinds of reasons, industry reasons, economy reasons. You run a much higher risk with that one stock. So by buying into a fund, by and large, you're going to be able to go up and down with that fund and out without levering those funds and using margin. So if you're looking for more information, I am happy to share it. I have free resources on my website at markflemingjr.com, a number of other videos, and I appreciate you taking the time to learn about margins today. I hope this was helpful.